All right, Rose, so the students ran across in the article in Oklahoma Living that there's a 59-year-old woman playing roller derby, Fairy Mean.
Hmm.
Do you think, first of all, what do you think about older women playing roller derby, and do the players go easy on her because of her age?
Um, I I think it's great that it's a sport that's open to pretty much all ages, and no, we don't go easy on her because of age. Once you pass minimum skills and you're out there playing with the big girls, if you can't take the heat, get out of the kitchen.
Very cool. All right, two more questions for this section. One of the students asks that she prefaces by saying that in class, um, well, I'll just read this verbatim because she wrote it directly to you. Hey, Rose, in class we are learning a lot about roller derby, and we keep coming across the idea that roller derby really is a place for girls to find a place where they really fit in. We've seen numerous examples or read from many authors that a lot of the roller derby girls have a hard time fitting in other places, that they come to roller derby and really find their niche. From your personal experience, do you think this is true?
Yeah, I do think that's true. I think the reason women feel like they find their where they belong is because we all have one thing in common, and that's derby. And even for those girls that were considered outcasts or whatever, here's a big group of women that we all have one thing in common at least, and that's derby. So
Have you ever played roller derby on a bank track? And if so, which track do you prefer, flat or bank track?
I have played on a bank track, and um, it works a completely different group of muscles. Um, I prefer flat track, obviously, because that's what I have so much experience on, but I'd be down to play some bank track.
Cool. These last bit of questions are about how the word gets out about derby, and the kind of the future of roller derby. So how do you personally promote, or through the team, promote roller derby to help continued interest in the sport?
We do a lot of social networking, flyers, word of mouth, the Gazette. The more advertising we can do, especially if it's free, that's even better. But I find myself being a constant promoter. Like, I always have flyers in my bag, in my car, wherever I go. If I see a bulletin board in a restaurant, I'll put a flyer up, poster up. It's that constant drive to keep our league thriving, I think, is what drives all of us to keep promoting.
And this next question might be right in line with it, so you might have already answered it. Um, what do you say the most important part of keeping roller derby thriving in modern day Oklahoma?
I think just keep growing as far as fans, because I run into people every day still that, oh, I didn't know we had roller derby here, and Oklahoma is relatively a small state compared to other states, and I just keep getting that word out. And then also we have the junior derby, which kind of opens a whole another demographic of fans, and then those could be that's the future of our sport too. So
Very cool. So mentioning not a lot of people not knowing, one of the students wrote that, do you think the underground aspect of roller derby is valuable for maintaining its culture, or would you like to see the sport gain mass popularity?
this is one question that a lot of people have different opinions on. Some people like to keep it underground. I personally would not mind it not mind it gaining mass popularity, because what that means for us that play the sport is it opens up the door for larger sponsors. You can get larger sponsors, you can travel more and not have to pay for our equipment and our travel and everything out of our own pocket. So that's, to me, is the upside of mass popularity.
Cool.
The underground is, people like to still keep it kitschy a little bit, and that's, right now I still think it's at that level. It still is underground, but I would like it to be popular.
Cool. So what are some positive influences? You mentioned some earlier, but are there any other positive influences that derby brings to young girls and women?
I think the biggest thing derby can bring is confidence and self-esteem, I guess. women get in there and they can find that they're really good at something, and that builds a lot of confidence. And then you find yourself one day walking out of the house in fishnets and short shorts to put gas in your car. And before Derby, you'd be like, oh my God, I'm not going out in the house in this. And now you're just like, I don't care, you know?
Very cool. So the last question for this interview, what do you think is the best message for people to take away to spread awareness of the sport of roller derby, and how do you or would you get that message out to other people?
I guess what I would say is that it's important that people know that roller derby right now is still very grassroots. We all run the business and skate at the same time. So in that itself, I think is pretty neat, and people on the outside, outside of derby should think the same as well. But just keep getting new fans, new girls, constant promotion. That's the way to get the message out there and keep derby alive, modern derby.
Very cool, Rosa. Thank you very much for this interview.